My name is Claire, and at 66 years old, I thought I had left love behind, resigned to the notion that my heart would never again flutter with the reckless abandon of youth. But when Jake, a 20-year-old fresh-faced and full of dreams, moved in next door, everything changed. He was a constant reminder of everything I once was and everything I still longed to feel. Little did I know that our worlds were destined to collide, igniting a passion that would transform our lives forever. It was early spring when the sun began to cast warm golden rays that melted away the remnants of winter. I stood in my garden, pruning my beloved roses with care, the sweet scent filling the air, wrapping me in nostalgia for days gone by. Spring always felt like a new beginning, and I enjoyed each moment amidst the vibrant blooms. Just as I was lost in thought, a commotion from the house next door pulled me from my reverie. I glanced up to see a young man unloading boxes from an old sedan, his movements vigorous and animated, a whirlwind of youthful energy. "Need some help?" I called out, unable to resist the urge to engage with the new neighbor. It was a spontaneous decision, but something about his energy sparked a flicker of excitement within me. His head snapped up, revealing bright blue eyes that sparkled with youthful mischief. "Just getting settled in. I'm Jake." He beamed back at me, his smile contagious, igniting an unexpected flutter in my chest. Were all young men this vibrant? The thought felt absurd, yet it clung to me, banishing the shadows of my solitude. "I'm Claire," I introduced myself, feeling a bit flustered under his gaze. I waved and he waved back, simple gestures, but they felt loaded with promise. As I returned to my pruning, I was acutely aware of the bright, fresh-faced boy next door, whose presence lingered in my mind long after. He awakened a part of me I thought had faded forever. Days turned into weeks, and Jake became a fixture in my thoughts and daily routines. I observed him often, whether he was skateboarding, working on his bike, or simply enjoying the sunshine. He radiated a carefree spirit that was utterly intoxicating. I found myself curious about him. What motivated him? What dreams he held close to his heart? My curiosity deepened, and I found myself seeking excuses to talk to him. One particularly warm Sunday morning, I noticed him struggling with a bicycle tire, the frustration etched on his brow as he tugged at the stubborn rubber. It was an involuntary urge to help that propelled me across the yard toward him. "Do you need a hand?" I called out, creating an opening before he could even respond. "Would you mind? I've never been good with this stuff," he admitted sheepishly, scratching his head, his youthful charm disarming me further. Kneeling beside him, I felt a giddy thrill in our proximity. His hands were clumsy but eager to learn. We spent the afternoon laughing and struggling together, and it felt oddly normal and yet exhilarating to be doing this with someone so much younger. I found myself smiling more than I had in years. "Thanks for the help, Claire," he said, handing me a cold drink afterward, his eyes sparkling. "You make this seem easy." "It's just practice. Anyone can do it with enough time," I replied, but I felt an unmistakable connection rooted in our shared laughter, a burgeoning kinship that I had not anticipated. Something about Jake made me feel alive again, as if I were rediscovering parts of myself long buried under layers of routine and resignation. As our interactions grew more frequent, the barriers of age and experience began to dissolve with each exchange. Our conversations became longer, brimming with shared interests and laughter. I found it so easy to talk to him as if we had known each other forever. One afternoon, we found ourselves sitting on my porch, the sun setting behind us, casting warm hues of orange and pink across the horizon. The world around us faded, and it felt as if we were in our private universe. "Where did you grow up, Jake?" I asked, genuinely intrigued, wanting to know more about the boy who had slipped into my life so seamlessly. He leaned back, seemingly lost in thought, watching the clouds drift. "A small town a few hours from here. It was okay. But I always wanted to be somewhere lively, somewhere art and culture matter." "Art, you say?" My interest piqued. "What kind?" "Mostly painting. he replied, and his enthusiasm was palpable. I love the way it lets you express emotions without using words. It's like breathing to me. I used to paint a lot, I confessed, surprised at my vulnerability spilling forth. Life got in the way, I suppose. I haven't picked up a brush in years. You should pick it up again. I'd love to see your work, he said, his face lighting up with a spark of excitement that made my heart flutter. At that moment, I realized that Jake saw me as more than just a neighbor. He recognized the potential within me, something that had remained dormant for far too long. As weeks faded into a blur of shared moments and laughter, our friendship deepened into something rich with unspoken energy. I caught glimpses of longing in his eyes, and I could feel a magnetic pull between us, a simmering chemistry that was both innocent and imbued with desire. One sun-drenched afternoon, after a particularly light-hearted conversation about our favorite books, our hands brushed against each other while reaching for the same book, lingering just a heartbeat longer than necessary. Suddenly, the air was charged with anticipation. Uncertainty flickered between us, and in that heartbeat, time seemed to freeze, allowing the world around us to fade into a hazy blur. My breath quickened, and I found myself at the edge of something new, something thrilling yet terrifying. "Jake," I started, but my words caught in my throat as I leaned in closer, compelled by an inexplicable urge to close the gap between us. Our eyes locked, and he leaned in, brushing his lips softly against mine. It was a tentative kiss filled with hesitation, yet it ignited a fire within me that unfurled like the petals of a blooming flower. His lips were warm and surprisingly gentle, sending shivers down my spine as I deeply inhaled the moment. I pulled away, breathless, surprised at my boldness, at the sheer emotion swirling within me. I was a woman of 60 kissing a boy of 20. How could something so wrong feel so undeniably right? Doubts crept in, but the thrill of that moment pushed them aside for just a while longer. As the days turned into an intoxicating whirlwind of emotions, I wrestled with the enormity of what had just happened. The thrill of our kiss lingered like a whisper in my ear, but so did the doubts. Could this be something meaningful? Would society's gaze cast shadows over our connection? One evening, I invited Jake over for dinner. My heart raced with anticipation as I set the table, the fleeting thought of what might happen next intoxicating my senses. The clinks of cutlery and the gentle light of candles created an ambiance steeped in intimacy. When he arrived, his eyes lit up at the sight of the meal, and I felt a rush of warmth swelling within me. We ate and chatted about art and our shared dreams, the chemistry between us crackling with each passing moment. However, beneath this surface of joy, uncertainty brewed. "Claire," he broke the momentary silence, his tone shifting to something more serious. "About the kiss, was it a mistake?" I felt my heart drop at the question. "No, yes, I don't know," I stumbled, searching for my bearings. "It was just unexpected." He leaned closer, confusion mingling with a flicker of hope in his eyes. Why can't it just be what it is? Sometimes a kiss is just a kiss. "But we're not just two people, Jake. There's so much more at stake." "I want you," he interrupted, his voice firm and unwavering, each word slicing through my fears. "I don't care about what others think." The intensity of his words hung in the air, leaving me torn between desire and apprehension. What if they find out? What if this goes beyond a summer fling? "Then let's make it worth it, whatever it becomes," he urged, leaning in closer once more, determination glowing in his gaze. Despite my fears, I found myself increasingly drawn to him, captivated by his spirit and vitality. We began to explore our connection further, allowing it to blossom while embracing whatever came next. Shared kisses transitioned into whispered confessions, our growing passion igniting something deep within both of us. One late afternoon, I suggested a spontaneous trip to a nearby art gallery. Jake lit up at the idea, and we spent hours marveling at various pieces, sharing insights, and ultimately getting lost in each other's presence. In a quiet corner of the gallery, a stunning painting caught my eye. A vivid landscape swirled with colors that sang to my soul. "Look at that one," I nudged Jake, my heart racing, excitement bubbling within me. He leaned in closer, examining the brushstrokes. "It's breathtaking," he admitted, glancing sideways at me. "Just like you." His words unraveled my resolve, igniting a passion I struggled to contain. We shared a moment of silence, the noise of the gallery melting into the background. "Can I kiss you again?" he asked softly, his voice trembling with sincerity. I nodded, breathless. He leaned in, and our lips met with an urgency that felt new, exhilarating yet tender. The kiss consumed me, igniting a deep-seated longing I had pushed aside for so long. I realized then that age didn't define our connection, our feelings did. As our relationship deepened, the physical connection between us grew stronger. One evening, after a long walk together, we found ourselves back at my house, sharing a bottle of wine and talking about our lives. The conversation flowed easily, but there was a tension in the air that neither of us could ignore. As the night wore on, our touches became more frequent, more deliberate. Jake reached out and gently took my hand, his thumb brushing over my skin in a way that sent shivers through me. We moved closer, the space between us disappearing. Our lips met in a kiss that was more intense than any before, filled with a passion that neither of us could deny. We didn't stop at just kissing this time. His hands began to explore, tracing the curves of my body with a tenderness that made me feel cherished and desired. I responded in kind, my own hands moving over him, feeling the warmth of his skin through his shirt. We lost ourselves in the moment, letting the world outside fade away as we gave in to the connection we had been building. However, reality has a knack for rearing its head just when you think you've finally found your rhythm. One evening, I attended a neighborhood gathering, a community event I often found solace in despite its predictable atmosphere. But that night, I encountered whispers of disapproval swirling around me like a storm. As I navigated the crowd, overhearing snide remarks about my relationship with Jake, I felt the heat of embarrassment creep up my cheeks. "Did you hear Claire's with that young guy?" one woman sneered, prompting laughter that felt like daggers. "How desperate can you get?" another chimed in, and my heart sank at their words. Jake was nearby, and sensing my discomfort, he quickly excused himself to join me on the balcony where I sought refuge to breathe. "Things will settle down," Jake said, concern etched across his face as he took in the situation. "It's not just gossip, Jake. What if they're right?" My voice trembled, panic washing over me. "What if this really is just a fantasy?" He stepped closer, grabbing my shoulders gently, grounding me. "It's not a fantasy if it's real for us. We can't let others' opinions dictate our happiness." "I've been alone for so long, maybe I'm misreading all of this," I admitted, feeling vulnerable and exposed. "Then let's redefine what we are," he said earnestly, grounding me with his steady gaze. "You mean more to me than whispers. Let's make it real." His conviction resonated within me, stoking the fire of my resolve. Perhaps love was worth fighting for, even in the face of judgment. Days turned into weeks, and we found ourselves more intertwined than we had ever expected. Kisses deepened, and we became partners in a shared exploration of not only our connection, but also ourselves. It felt like we were writing our own story, filled with pages emblazoned with longing, laughter, and liberation. One rainy Saturday, we stayed in for a cozy afternoon, painting together, laughter echoing through my living room. Colors swirled on the canvas as vibrant as our emotions, a chaotic harmony that reflected our newfound connection. Jake mixed colors with enthusiasm, his youthful spirit reflected in every stroke of the brush. "You're talented, Claire," he said, genuinely admiring my work. "You've taught me to see things differently, to look deeper." "Thank you, Jake," I replied, feeling the warmth spread through me. "You've encouraged parts of me I thought were lost." We moved closer, the tension between us palpable. Our lips met softly, the kiss deepening into something more fervent. We explored each other's touches, savoring the closeness that had become so important to us. It was a moment of intense intimacy, where every brush of our lips and touch of our hands felt like a promise, awakening the longing I had buried for so long. "I don't want to hide anymore," I whispered against his lips, my heart racing at the admission. "Then don't," he replied, his eyes glimmering with determination. "Let's be us, whatever that looks like." As winter settled in and snowflakes danced outside, we forged a path of love that blended my maturity with his youthful enthusiasm. I felt alive again, craving the sweetness that came with our relationship. We faced challenges openly, embracing them while pushing against societal norms to carve a new existence together. One introspective evening, as we enjoyed a quiet dinner at my house, I turned to him, feeling a surge of courage. "Jake, I care about you deeply, but I have to ask, what do you see for us in the future?" He paused, his expression thoughtful, as if weighing the significance of the moment. "I see us exploring together, learning about each other, growing through whatever comes our way." "You inspire me," he said, each word pregnant with sincerity. "What do I inspire you to do?" I pressed, curiosity fueling my need to know what I meant to him. "To be fearless," he responded, raw emotion lacing his voice. "To take life by the reins and not be afraid of the journey ahead." Tears pricked the corners of my eyes at his words, and I reached for his hand across the table, feeling the warmth spread through me, illuminating the uncertainty that had clouded my heart for so long. "If I choose this, if I choose us, it has to be all-encompassing," I said quietly, the weight of my words hanging in the air. "It can be," he assured me, his smile illuminating the room. "I'm all in, Claire. I want to share my life with you." As the months rolled on, our shared dreams began to crystallize, transforming into something meaningful and enduring. We chased sunsets, painted murals, and danced beneath a canopy of stars, crafting our little world filled with laughter and tender moments. One balmy evening, we ventured to our favorite spot, a quiet hill overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking. The city lights sparkled like stars below, a reflection of the hope and joy we had ignited in each other. Wrapped in each other's arms, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, one that had eluded me for so long. "You know, I never thought I'd find something like this at my age," I confessed, gazing out at the horizon, where the sky met the earth in a gentle embrace. "Why not? Love is timeless," he replied, turning to face me, his eyes shimmering with affection. "See it as a gift, Claire. It's never too late to experience something beautiful." "Right?" I laughed softly, feeling the warmth of his presence surrounding me. At that moment, I realized that age carried no weight in the pursuit of happiness. It was merely a number, an abstract concept that couldn't confine the depths of our connection. As I leaned in for a kiss, the world around us faded into oblivion. The gentle warmth of his lips against mine anchored me firmly in the present, where we were simply Claire and Jake, two hearts intertwined in a beautiful dance of love that defied convention. By opening my heart to a younger man, I discovered a world brimming with joy, laughter, and deep emotional connection. As I looked at Jake, I saw not just a younger version of myself, but a partner who complemented my layers of experience with his vibrant spirit and fresh perspectives. Our relationship challenged the definitions of love and companionship while celebrating the beauty inherent in human connection. With Jake, I experienced a love that transcended conventional boundaries, one that proved that passion flows freely when hearts dare to be brave. As we walked hand in hand into the future, I understood that love, in all its forms, is worth pursuing, nurturing, and celebrating, regardless of the years that separate us. Life had surprised me yet again, and I was ready to embrace the adventure that lay ahead, not just for myself, but for us, together. With each passing day, I learned to cherish not just the unpredictability of life, but also the exhilarating freedoms that love offers. Age may have brought wisdom and scars, but it was Jake's youthful spirit that illuminated my world, and together we painted a future rich with endless possibilities. In the end, we found solace not in what others thought or what society dictated, but in the moments that made our hearts race and our souls sing. Love, it turns out, is not bound by age. It is an eternal dance, a tapestry waiting to be woven anew with each courageous embrace. Filled with new experiences, laughter, and the joy of discovering each other, Claire and Jake embarked on a journey where dreams were not limited by age and where the heart reigned sovereign over societal expectations. Their love story, unique and beautiful, became a testament to the timelessness of love, a resplendent reminder that life's most profound connections often bloom in the unlikeliest of places. Together, they painted a canvas of love, color, and passion, an artwork of life not bound by time, but inspired by the courage to embrace change.